So today we are going to talk about the downswing. We're going to continue our series on the swing made simple. Somebody wrote me and said, Tony, can you please explain the downswing to me? And I did in my comments. But today we're going to actually do the video on it. How to make a good downswing, what goes into making a good downswing, and what to avoid when you're on your downswing. It's very simple, really. So come on back and we will get right to it. Well, of course, as you might have guessed, a lot of what goes into the downswing is a result of what happened on your upswing, beginning with the address position. I mean, I've gone over it 100 times in my videos. Basically, you want a pretty neutral address position. You want to have a good grip. You want to have the right thumb right at the back of the ball. A good way to think about distance from the ball is you want a nice distance from the ball without reaching for it, because look, turn this position into an impact position. That's how you're going to be at impact. How's your arm? You don't want it to be impacting it from way out here. You want to feel comfortable. So set yourself up when you're practicing and say, oh, this is a nice, comfortable impact position. So then you'll get the idea of where you should be as far as distance from the ball. You can also just do the regular, put the club up, put it down without bending your legs too much, and that'll get you close to. You don't want to stand too far away from the ball, and you don't want to choke yourself either. You don't want to choke yourself off. It should be a nice medium between the two. Now, once you got that done, one of the major things that you have to accomplish on the upswing is you want to produce a spring action that gets your hips moving first on a downswing. And I've seen some videos lately that are going contrary to fact. The fact of the matter is, you see all the great players, you name it, they all start the hands and the arms first, even if it's only to here, and then they turn the hips. Now I'm going to turn my hips slightly quicker than most because I don't have that kind of flexibility that the top tour players do, but basically even me, and I'm going to show you a slow motion action of when I was 18, that shot when I was 18 years old, when I was at the top of my game. I think I was hitting a forward off the deck at the driving range, and you'll see that I start hands first, then the hips. The hips don't start to swing. The only way that starting the hips first in the swing makes sense is if you start the hips and then you stop them and then you continue with your shoulders, so you still get that spring action. So you could start it a little bit with the hips and then stop them before they get too much of a turn in there and there's no spring. The spring happens in here. That's Ben Hogan 101. Even though when you see him, it looks like he's starting everything. No, actually, he starts the hands, the shoulder, arms, and the shoulders in that order. But it's the hands, arms, and shoulders starting a split second, seems like, because the swing takes so quickly to accomplish. But that's what gets the legs coming down, right? So that's a great part of your downswing, is how if you take the club back. If you just lift the club up, you have nothing to bring it down with. You just accept arms. So that's why we want to start a little bit hands arms and shoulders first, get a little pivot and spring action so we can then start the legs down and hit the ball squarely. Get that club back to the ball squarely. Let me show you a quick one here. I don't know if you're gonna, I don't have that much flexibility, but you'll see I start everything with the hands, arms, and shoulders first. And see, that was a good hit. That gets everything moving down on the downswing from the legs first and then the shoulder. Now Hogan went into doing this. I don't feel that, but I do not worry about my right elbow because I keep it in from the get-go, and then I swing with the right elbow always in. You don't have to if you have a more, let's say, Jack Nicklaus type swing where you're up here, as long as you get it down here coming into impact zone, because getting it back to your side creates that proper swing plane that lets you hit the ball. One thing I do not do that I was taught when I was a young golfer is to cock the wrists. I don't worry about the wrists in the upswing. You know, and at the top of my swing, I'm not concentrating on cocking my wrists. I'm concentrating on keeping them from getting stiff. You don't want them to be fighting your arms or the club. You want to keep them, your wrists, fairly loose so that you can release them at the ball. Okay? Now, the other thing that's most important about the downswing is the first move. Now, when you go back, like I said, you start the arms, hands, arms, shoulders, and your weight goes back to the inside of the back foot, right? Whatever your back foot is. If you're lefty, it's your left foot. If you're righty, it's your right foot, right? The weight gets back there. Now, the first move is a lateral move. It's not a spin move. You're not taking the club back only to spin it out. No. Because it's the lateral move that keeps you behind the ball. And you can't make this happen. You can't make this happen. You can't try to do this. You don't try to do this. This is a result of your hands losing the race with your hips. That's all it is. It's not you trying to hit a shot. Can't make it happen. Can't make most of this swing happen by using your brain. The swing is a result of natural actions, right? I'm not trying to do anything but swing. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not thinking about any particular move except getting my weight back and hitting it. Getting my weight back and hitting it. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. So you can't take your swing apart piece by piece. Let it happen. Swing your body. Swing your body. Doing that exercise will tell you a lot about how you're going to swing. Now, the most important part of that is a great grip. You can't just have a willy-nilly grip because then the club is going to go all over the place. You have to look at my grip video, study good grips, and have a decent grip. And then it all starts from the grip if you're a beginner. You have to have a good grip. Without a good grip, you can't play this game. You can bump the ball around, But without a good grip, you can't hit the ball with any consistency. Now, another thing I hear all the time that drives me crazy are people giving lessons on how to compress the golf ball. You know what compresses the golf ball? The length of your clubs. The shorter the club, the closer you stand, your arc is slightly more upright, and then naturally you compress the golf. You don't think about compressing the golf ball. You think about finding the low spot on your hitting zone. That's all. Don't worry about taking divots. I mean, I could point the camera at these gouges people are here taking out of this grass. They just resodded, got new grass to grow, and it's almost torn up. People are like, looks like a motorcycle went through there. You don't have to do that. The club is going to do that for you. If the address position has a lot to do with it. Have your thumb either at the ball or maybe slightly forward of the ball with a short iron, and that'll do it. If you're not compressing the ball or feeling like the ball is being hit solid, perhaps you're standing too far away from the ball. Don't. You should be really comfortable with a short iron, right? My elbows are actually against my chest here. Beautiful. There's a compressed shot. Did I try to compress it? No. The club does that work for you. And your wedges will compress more than a longer club, than an 8-iron. You'll still compress an 8-iron, then a 7-iron. You still will compress the 7, but not as much. And then when you get, I don't know how many irons you have, I just go to 6. I do compress my 6-iron, but once we get to the longer clubs, fairway woods, I just barely feel it. It's not like a 9-iron. So you're not taking a 6-iron and gouging the hell out of the ground because you got to compress it. No, your swing will do that for you. And hitting a driver, you're standing further away from the ball, of course, but it's the same swing. It's the same swing. Arms, hands, and shoulders first, holding it. Then you get a lateral movement. Boom. Elbow naturally comes in. You naturally lay the club off when you get the lateral movement, and the rest is just hitting it. That's all there is to it on a downswing. But you got to get the weight back. You can't have the weight moving too much on the forward side. You can't go like this unless you're an expert at stack and tilt, which I'm not. That's it. It doesn't get any simpler than that. And you'll know immediately. You'll know immediately when you don't get the weight back, because you'll feel like there's nothing propelling the club except your arms. And you'll go, ah, and you'll have nothing to hit the ball with, and you'll either top it or hit it anywhere. So the first move on a downswing, and keep in mind, I realize I have a short swing. You can even do this when you're up here. You just move it here and do the same thing. So it's not about having a short swing. Not at all. It's about completing your shoulder turn. That's mine. And then I move lateral, move the hands where they should be automatically, and then I can hit it. That's your downswing. Don't worry about turning. Don't worry about any of it. All you really think about is weight going back, weight going through. Weight going back, weight going through. Weight going back, weight going through. That's all you have to worry about if you're a beginner. If you've played a while and you're not getting your weight back, you know, there's that Hogan drill where he stepped and hit. I can barely do that because that takes flexibility. He used to move the back foot back, get over here and then move the, but I can't do that. So I can, but I can put my feet together and get that feeling of doing that. But I do feel my legs moving laterally. And what moving laterally on the downswing does for you, this is why it's so important, despite what people are saying out there. When you move laterally, guess puts the club in a good position, and that lateral move keeps the club squarer longer than if you got up here and did the turn. Now that's an over exaggeration, but you know what I'm talking about. When you turn too quickly on a downswing, that face is going to close on you and you're going to hit a hook or a deadly slice. The feeling you should get for the downswing, wrist should be relaxed, and you should feel like you're moving just like that. So just, if you don't have flexibility like me, just move your foot an inch and that'll do it. I mean, you could even hit a ball like that. See if I could do it. Big mouth. Let me see if I could do it. Yeah, that wasn't bad. See what I did there? I stepped, then I did my swing. And it made me step right into the shot. I'm sorry I've been absent. I was a little under the weather for 2.5 weeks. I feel fine now. Knock on wood. And I will see you next time with another The Swing Made Simple series.